New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And Reverend Joy Fletcher here.
And today is Tuesday, the 21st of April already. My gosh, this is New Thought Today on the New Thought Media Network. Our guest is Reverend Joyful Fletcher. You've been with us before, dear one, and but it's been a little over a year since you've been with us. So we're going to kick it over to you and let you share just a little bit about yourself. Let people know what they need to know about you to get our conversation started today.
Wonderful. Well, it's been a busy, action-packed year. Since my last appearance, I co-founded the Divine Science Everywhere video podcast on New Thought Media Network. My co-hosts are Bishop Darrell Watkins, as well as Reverend Jeff Radcliffe. We interview people that are leaders in the New Thought movement, and we just have a lot of fun. We really believe that divine science truly is everywhere. The roots of many New Thought organizations and beliefs have their foundation in the thoughts that divine science teaches, which is the omnipresence of spirit everywhere. And we're never separate from this source, this sacred energy. Yes. Also, another way I express ministry is as a president of Divine Science Ministers Association.
That was, I was thinking today earlier as we were getting prepared for this, that you might be one of the most unassuming and busiest women in New Thought right now. Because we haven't even started to cover it all, folks, right? So yes, you've got a show here on New Thought Media Network, and we love that. And that happens Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I hope I got that time right. I should know that time frame. But that happens, sorry, Fridays. I'm thinking of this show. That happens Friday afternoons, Divine Science Everywhere. You're also, you have your own ministry, and we'll share that website here in a second. You are the president of the Divine Science Ministers Federation. Association. And you are also on the International New Thought Alliance Executive Board.
Yes.
So the obvious first question is, where do you find time for it all, dear one?
Well, I just redirected myself from my hospice job so that it created some space. I have about 19 years of hospice experience as a chaplain, as well as a bereavement coordinator. I love that. I love that part of my life. It's just a wonderful ministry to support other people on their grief journey, as well as different aspects of spiritual concerns as to support not only the hospice patient, but their family, facility staff, and community, because everyone is connected and working together, and we all experience grief from losses You don't have to be a relative to feel that grief.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that also doesn't get spoken about very often, but I remember you sharing with me once, you're actually fifth generation leadership in New Thought. So tell us a little bit about like your lineage goes all the way back to the beginning, really, right?
Yes. Yes. My 2 times great grandmother was ordained at the age of 65, which I think is remarkable. I believe it was 1926. It was either 26 or 24. And I just think that's so remarkable. One time when I was visiting Unity Village, I went into the library. I loved the library at Unity Village and the grounds. And I know that this was a message from Spirit, direction, a beam of light. I went and looked at Myrtle Fillmore's desk, and it had a clear top. And I looked down, and there was a book that was open, and my 2 times great grandmother's name was written in there, and it said graduated June, I'm going to say 1924, and her name, and it said Kansas City. So an assumption, I don't know, but it's very likely that she worked with the Fillmores. And her daughter, my great grandmother, was very dear to me, shared that she was best friends with Margaret Butterworth, who was Eric Butterworth's sister. And their mother, May Butterworth, was also a Unity minister. And she ministered in Compton, California, and also had a wee wisdom school. So when May died suddenly, then Margaret was, as my grandmother said, thrust into the ministry. How many of us feel like sometimes we were thrust in the ministry? Just like, I didn't plan this, but we planned it on some level. So she used to be able to accompany Margaret Butterworth, meaning my great grandmother, to Unity Village when they studied. So my grandmother said that she considered that one of the highlights of her life. My own grandmother, Fletcher, attended conferences at Unity Village, and my dad did too. He was a Youth of Unity delegate from Southern California the year before I was born. And I discovered this lineage because when I went to Unity Village for the very first time on a Greyhound bus with the Southwest Region Youth of Unity delegates, I got there, and after a bit, I thought, well, maybe I should go and check to see if I received any mail. And then there was a part of me that thought, now who would be sending you mail? Well, I went, and sure enough, there was a letter from my grandmother Fletcher that explained all of this and had a chart of the different family members that had attended Unity, and said that I was the 5th member to have ever attended a conference at Unity Village. And one of my sons, my eldest son, as well as my grandson, have visited Unity Village, but haven't attended a conference. But I still feel very proud, excited to think that 7 generations of our family have been on the Unity grounds, beginning from when my 2 times great grandmother was there. Before there were buildings, they stayed in tents on that property. And my grandmother remembers hearing her grandmother, my 2 times great grandmother, excitedly talking about attending one of the first conferences there. So, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. That is a show by itself right there.
Seven generations, folks.
Yeah.
if you're listening and you wonder what you stumbled in here today, we are speaking to Reverend Joyful Fletcher and fifth generation New Thought. And now you kind of let go a little bit of the unity side and drifted over into the divine science side. So anybody in the family kind of holding that against you, or is it just
not at all?
It's
New Thought. New Thought. Yes. I also have some a foot in the religious science family too. I attended a conference with Marlene Oakes, and her organization was called Santi, Santi, and we went to Moscow, and we taught, I say taught, but tongue in cheek, Russian students that came literally from that entire country. It was fascinating. We each had our own interpreter, and I learned so much from those students and the resourcefulness and their strengths and about their life. And we would, through the interpreter, share stories about our cultures and our dynamics and things. And it was just so powerful. And then I went back a second year, and we instead of staying in Moscow, by the way, we stayed at the literature said you're staying at a resort by Russian standards. So it was not like we're used to here. And the second year we divided in half, and one group went to St. Petersburg, and I went to the Tatarstan Republic. And that was fascinating. And my interpreter was from Ukraine. So we received just wonderful. And that was the first time, believe it or not, when I went to Russia that I learned about the dances for universal peace, as well as what a dollar store is. I hadn't been exposed to that in the US. They weren't as popular. We went to the dollar store to get some water. And so, it was just wonderful in the culture, and be able to go to the Bolshoi Ballet and the circus, which is it's just so different than here. And yet there were so many similarities. We each have our families and things that we treasure. And one of the things that I treasure that lives in my heart is the generosity of the students. And they could literally make something out of nothing and celebrate every single day. And what a gift to bring back from traveling halfway across the world.
Wow. Well, and the interesting thing there is interesting and true, right, is that no matter where you are around the world, this teaching of New Thought, which is an inspiration to live a full, engaged, and joyous life, regardless of, as long as you're not hurting anybody to do it, everybody's seeking that. Everybody's seeking to be fully actualized. And I think that's the beauty of these teachings, is that it allows you to converse with people regardless to where they are, where they're from, what the environment is, on basic aspirations of how do I become all I can be? How do I be of service? How do I understand the world around me better? And I think we have a top two way of doing that if we can get people plugged in.
That's right. Yes. One thing that I went away with is the recognition that so many people are hungry for this teaching, that they're willing to sacrifice in order to experience it. They want to improve their life. I'm remembering one student, a young man. His name was Sasha, and he came from another country, part of the Russian Republic, because that was right after the communist rule had ended. So things were still kind of dismal, but yet there were little splashes of color, energetically. When he came, and I noticed that he wore the same running suit the whole time. And I just kind of glanced, didn't think anything of it. And then near the end of the 3 weeks, he told his story, and the interpreter told us that he wanted to know about these teachings that could improve his life. And his grandmother had sacrificed everything that she had to buy him a computer on the black market because they weren't available on the black market. But he wanted to find out what these teachings were that he sold that computer in order to buy his train ticket and to be able to attend that conference. Phenomenal.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really what I like to call a trifecta in the movement. You got some divine science, you've got some religious science, and you've got some unity, and I appreciate that, because to me, having that well-rounded perspective on the movement is so imperative for where we're going in the future. And we're going to talk about that in a little while. But before we get there, I would love to explore a little bit more of your work with the Divine Science Ministers Association. So, at some point you get some education and you're all official. How do you find yourself in leadership within a national organization like that?
Well, as an ordained divine science minister, you're welcome to join us. We have a monthly, what we call Coffee and Connection. And so we meet virtually just to talk about what's going on, some concerns we might have, questions about our ministry. We have a website that has resources, and we have educational webinars at times, all the way from how to use Zoom or effectively, how to have a media presence, or maybe somebody wants to talk about officiating a wedding. So we're here to support one another. And then it can be like a referral base. If someone gets on the website and they want somebody to talk to them, like practitioner work, pray with them, counsel them. We also do that for one another in the Divine Science Ministers Association, colleague to colleague. And we also have a prayer ministry. So if there are any prayer requests, some of us are on that committee, and the prayer requests are emailed to all of us.
Beautiful.
I don't know if this is appropriate for this section or the next section, but I'm curious, having, been in this movement forever, right? All your life, and different variations. What do you see? How do you see that transformation of where we are now? And I know I'm stepping now over into the next session, but I'm just curious.
Do you mean in our global society or in the New Thought movement?
Yeah, just in the New Thought movement, having been able to see various parts of it expressing this oneness in a different way, or giving people a different entry point to access. Mm-hmm. And from what, how has, from when you originally was introduced to divine science in your mind, how has it changed? And the same thing with unity and this, and because, like Robert said, you have a unique perspective on this whole New Thought movement from your involvement, I think, anyway.
Yes, and I believe, thank you, that there are overlaps. There is no such thing as trademarking truth. I really believe that. And, we believe in the sacredness of everyone. The divinity lives within. We believe in the power of our thoughts and our words. We believe that healing is possible. And healing comes in many ways. That's a sidebar, in my opinion. And the movements can help each other. I'm so excited that, and we'll get into this, about the 3 major New Thought movements have archives at Unity Village, so that we can share our resources. And it's just, and then we share our resources too. For example, I treasure the books that I have, and the teachings that I've had in divine science. And with Unity, there are more books for resources, like the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary and things like that. So I don't, my hands don't burn when I grab those books, because I'm crossing the denominational line. All of that is meant to be shared. And it's my impression from the different classes that I've had, plus my intuition, is the early New Thought leaders, and there were so many, supported each other. They went to each other's pulpits. They traded pulpits.
Right.
I don't feel, and doesn't mean that there aren't some personalities that, might have difficulty sharing, but it's just, I just really believe that that's what the intention is to share all of this truth. As we expand in our awareness and our consciousness, those around us expand and in their own consciousness. It has a ripple effect. And so why would we hide our light under a bucket? Why would we do that? No.
Exactly. I love how you say there's no trademark on truth. And in today's world, we can't know what leaders, or the founders, as I call them, thought about each other, other than we do know that they visited each other's pulpits. We do know that they somewhat studied together. We do know that they connected with each other. And there's a debate that's been going on online for a few years now, and one specific person who will remain nameless that likes to promote the idea that Ernest Holmes basically stole everything from Melinda and Divine Science and the Brooks sisters, and basically stole everything and just repatented it, re-scribed his name onto it and stuff. And I've always looked at it from, I'm pretty sure these were very strong women, incredibly strong and courageous in their time. Specifically, not the way we think of strong women today, but to be a woman leading a philosophical religion, if you will, in their age. I have a pretty good feeling that if Holmes did steal from them, they would have said something about it. There'd be some record somewhere that says, hey, we think you stole this from us, and we think we have the right to this, and you can't do this. And nowhere in any of the archives is anybody able to find anything that points to that. So to me, that's enough proof that no, they were all working together to bring forward truth in a time when it was most necessary, when the truth wasn't being heard, when it wasn't on every TikTok and billboard you turn to, but was something really unique. And the birth of New Thought was necessary, but no one has complete ownership of it.
Yes, and many of them were students of Emma Curtis Hopkins. So, and then it broadened out, the top of the fun went out like this. So, they took those teachings and went with it and expressed it in their own way. So, yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. So tell us a little bit about your work today, what you're doing now. You mentioned at the top of the program that you've kind of moved away from your hospice type work, and your website, we're going to share that for everybody to see. Tell us a little bit more about how people can engage and work with you today, right now.
Thank you. I facilitate grief support groups, and that's going to include pet loss, as well as grief support groups, and also I've facilitated dementia caregiver support groups. I would like to do that online. I was doing that when I was working for hospice. Also, I was on a panel a week ago at a hospice teleconference, and the theme this year was dementia, and I served on the board and talked about that and how to start a dementia caregiver support group. And I provide education because I'm also a death doula, end-of-life practitioner. And so I am very passionate about teaching, not just the nitty-gritty about what happens to your body, but to support someone spiritually, help them recognize the value of their lives. Maybe we can work on a legacy project together. I also help with advanced directives and things like writing your own obituary and maybe your spiritual autobiography, which I recommend for anyone. I've done that a few times for myself, and it's like, wow, I've done a lot. And I think all of us need to do that, not in an egotistical way, but like, wow, I've used this time on the planet to do some things and enjoy some things, and boy, did I learn some things, which is good. I think that's important. Also, maybe there's some issues of forgiveness that could be addressed. And I am in the process of creating a program for an area hospice home. And this is a place where people can go at the end of their life, and it's nonprofit, and they don't have to pay anything to be there. And we have volunteers. And I am creating a 7-week series to train the volunteers how to be a vigil volunteer, how to sit at the bedside, how to support the family. What are your feelings about your own mortality and your communication style? All of that, so that you can be fully present with the person that is dying. And what a gift and an honor to be there, sacred honor to be there with someone when they're crossing over and in their process, as well as to be able to just be there with their family without trying to fix it. You may see some dynamics, but you don't know what's happened up until then, and you're not going to fix it as a volunteer. You are only there to be a presence, a calm presence. And so, and I love rituals. I've officiated just under 600 weddings and baby blessings and celebration of life and memorials and end-of-life rituals, pet memorials. And I just think it's so much fun. So much fun. I really enjoy it. I'm really, really grateful for those that have invited me to be in their life. I've got lots of funny stories, very touching stories, and I feel so rich inside from those experiences. It's just a blessing. I also have written some books that are being revised to help ministers create a ritual ministry. And also another one, some life lessons that I learned along the way. And a lot of them are around when my children were growing up. My children taught me so much, and they continue to do that. My grown sons now still teach me that I have so much, I just feel so enriched there too. And I provide community education, and recently became part of a death doula group in this area. We're just starting, and we decided that we are putting together an end of life symposium. And we've invited a funeral director, someone representing that hospice home, and someone from hospice. So, and then each of us are going to a piece. And it isn't just about dying, it's about finding meaning in your own life. If you thought that you could die in any moment, then how would you want to live your life? So, it's a positive thing. It's just, and then I talk about self-care. So those are a few things.
Beautiful. Right on. Well, folks, if you're watching and you wonder what you stumbled into today, this is New Thought Today. Our guest is Reverend Joyful Fletcher. You can learn all about her work at joyfulcircle.org. Yes, there's 2 L's there. So Joyful Circle at .org. Check that out. We're going to take a real quick break and let Reverend Joyful have a sip of water and let you learn a little bit more about some of the things that happen here on New Thought Media Network. But we've got more to come, and we want you to stay tuned. Hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons while we're going. Let your friends and family know what we're doing. We're going to be back in just a minute or so with more of New Thought Today and our special guest, Reverend Joyful Fletcher. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger, learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
And we're back with more of New Thought Today here on the New Thought Media Network. Our special guest today, Reverend Joyful Fletcher, and we've been having a great conversation. If you're just tuning in, you'll have to catch up with the first half a little later. But before we totally run out, because we still got a lot of ground to cover here today. As I said in the first segment, you're one of the hardest working women in New Thought as far as I'm concerned, and you show up in a lot of places. Now, over the last couple of years, you and I have gotten to know each other a little bit through the International New Thought Alliance. And based on the history you've shared with us, I can't think of any better place for you to be serving than at the International New Thought Alliance, also known as INTA, folks. So tell us a little bit about your involvement there. And I know you got involved, you got invited into serving on the board of the executive board. Tell us what that's been like for you as well.
I enjoy it very, very much. Deepening relationships, collaborating. We all have a passion about New Thought, and it's an old organization, a historical organization. We stand on the shoulders of our spiritual ancestors. It's really exciting to imagine those that came before us as part of this organization that attended congresses and, authored literature and came together and spoke to each other, and they ministered to each other. One of the things that I've been working on in collaboration with two of my colleagues on the board is what we call hubs. It used to be called district president, where in each region, other new thoughters are encouraged to get together, not only to socialize, but to support one another. And so we've revised that, and we're going to roll it out at the next Congress, which is the first week in May this year. And hubs represents honoring universal beliefs. And we feel very excited about it, energized, that all of the New Thought organizations are under one umbrella. And each person that I work with on this particular committee are from another stream of New Thought. And yet we have so many things in common. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about the future. We're in the process of restructuring and spreading the good news in the International New Thought Alliance, as well as you heard me mention earlier that all three archives of the three larger New Thought organizations are housed at Unity Village, Missouri. And I just love being in that energy. All of them. It just excites me to walk into the library or archives and to see all those books and things that spiritual ancestors touched and put their energy in. So we're hosting our Congress there, as I said, and great speakers and wonderful experience. We come together and collaborate and not exactly rekindle, deepen our relationship. We're also going to enjoy the Unity Village grounds. There's a labyrinth, a stone labyrinth there on the ground, and there is going to be an activity where we actually walk the labyrinth. Yep. There is the Peace Chapel, which I remember the first time I ever opened that door to that Peace Chapel when I was 16, and opened that door, and I could feel the energy come out of that room because it's open 24/7 and people pray in there. I've had my own mystical experiences there. And then the Silent Unity ministry is there, where people can call in for prayer. And that's a wonderful experience too. If you're invited, certain people get invited in certain conferences to be able to go and be part of that Silent Unity prayer service. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is amazing. I've had that honor, and it's another place, one of those places people talk about, vortexes and things like that in Sedona, and it's like, go to Unity Village, and it's everywhere you turn. That energy of the New Thought movement. So, folks, the website's going across the bottom of your screen. The 111th International New Thought Alliance Congress is coming up May 4th through the 9th. It's and we're going to announce this here. Starting now, you can register for a virtual version. So we just released virtual registrations yesterday, and the tickets are available on that site. All the information you need is there. Reverend Joyful, I believe you'll be doing a power talk that week.
Yes. Yes.
As will I. So if you'd like to hear both of us in a little more formal of an arrangement and a presentation, please consider joining us for that. It's an amazing thing. And if you'd like to learn more about the International New Thought Alliance, how you might be able to serve or support or become a part of INTA, head over to that same website, newthoughtalliance.org. All the information you need is there. So,
and it's exciting. This is the 111th Congress. I believe that INTA is 112 years old, and 1 year during World War II, they
Yep.
didn't have Congress. But that's incredible. That is just incredible to have that history. So
A dear friend registered yesterday, the day before, and she sent a text and she said, "I expect it to be the best Congress ever."
mhm.
And another friend responded and said, "Well, considering the first Congress had Thomas Troward initiated as the vice president of the organization, yeah, we'll see what we can do." So it might not be the best Congress ever, but I've seen the lineup of speakers is pretty amazing. One of your co-hosts from Divine Science Everywhere, Bishop Darrell Watkins, will be there speaking. Myself, Reverend Dr. Bill Marcioni, Reverend Martha Creek is going to be there and speaking. Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen is going to be there. Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, and music by Dale Worley, Jesse Powers, and Christy Snow. It's going to be a really fun time, folks. If you can join us at Unity Village, please do so. Rooms and tickets still available through the website, so check that out.
Absolutely. And we're also going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony for the archives. They were recently moved in this last year where they were housed in Mesa, Arizona, and they've been relocated, as I said, to Unity Village. So come and be part of that excitement. Or if you watch it, that we're going to have that ribbon cutting. It's just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, going to be lots of fun.
And you know, I love that, as you were talking about the three organizations having their information in the library and everything. I thought about, as we were talking earlier, it's for me, I used to run a lot, and I would go to these running clinics, and they'd have all these different running coaches who had their best technique on how to run a 5K or a half marathon. And they were all there collaborating together. And when I think about now, all of the archives there, you can go in and see all the different ways to pray, all the different ways to make a connection with a person who's in need, or to uplift yourself. And there are various proven ways to do that. And so to be able to have that in one place and have a person walk in and be able to find what fits them is, to me, is amazing. And I just love that idea.
Me too. Yeah.
It is pretty amazing how all of the major archives, and now we've got some newer smaller archives are looking at relocating there. I know the affiliated New Thought Network, Anton, is partnering with INTA's Addington Archives to have a display there and such and such. So really, I'm becoming the center of the universe for the history of New Thought.
That's right. And also the Divine Science Archives, that's a possibility, as well as Universal for Better Living.
Foundation, Universal Foundation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, how wonderful. Then they're being preserved. They're accessible for us to look at, to use it, to study, to glean the truth. So it's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? It just popped into my head when you were saying that. Each one of these organizations, if you will, were kind of suited or targeted is not the right word. It gives, again, a way of looking at how these teachings can be ingrained into a way of life culturally and still produce the same results. Because the truth, as you said, can't be monopolized, can't be co-opted, can't be any of that.
That's right. That's right. It's just a matter of interpretation, the words, the vibe, and it doesn't matter if you catch it and it makes a difference in your life. It doesn't. And
And that kind of leads us back to where we were a little while ago. Rev Z here jumped the gun just a hair on our favorite question, and that's okay, because I love how this show flows, and when it needs to be asked, it gets asked. But I want to revisit that a little bit, because you do have a unique perspective on not only the history, but where the organization sits right now. Your involvement with Divine Science Ministers Federation, your involvement with the International New Thought Alliance. I'm pretty sure I've seen you around an Anton event once or twice, and as a show host here on New Thought Media Network. I think you have a unique perspective, and I'm sure you have a wonderful vision of where we're headed. And so if you start to look out a little further than just next year or the year after, but if you start to look out 5, 10, maybe even further into the future, what do you see as the grand vision, or what's pulling New Thought forward? How do we stay relevant out in the future?
I believe that the world is hungry for New Thought principles right now, with all that's going on and questioning and people feeling lost, afraid, maybe disenfranchised. So this is an opportunity for us to let our light shine, if you will. And one of the main teachings that we have is being non-judgmental, teach each other, show compassion, love, forgiveness, and hope. Hope is really, really important. And I really believe that as we come together, even in our New Thought movement, and not compete with each other, but rather collaborate with each other, from the center of the circle, it ripples out and it affects our society and then the greater global society. So what I envision is for more people to catch these principles, whether they call it that or not. We're seeing that in more traditional churches. Some of the New Thought principles are being expressed maybe in a different way than we are, but it's just, people are hungry for this. And we have an opportunity to stand firm, and also to not get caught up in what's happening in the world. Oh yeah, I have moments. I do. And then there's a part of me that reminds myself that, wait a minute, there's a bigger picture here. There's a bigger picture. Whatever's going on now is shining a light on what needs to be rebuilt, restructured. There are a lot of cracks in our system and in the world. We've forgotten, I think, collectively, that we're all part of the same global family. We really are. And organizations like this can only help that. We come together, we remind each other of that. And I often go away feeling energized, re-inspired, and then go back to my everyday life. And I'm sure that other people feel that way too when they come together and share and experience these teachings in real life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. All right, folks, we're going to take another real quick break and let our sponsors and organizational sponsors and individual donors say thank you, and for us to say thank you to them, and to let Reverend Joyful take another sip of water. But we're going to be back with our final segment of New Thought Today here for April 21st in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages. Please help us say thank you to all.
please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you to all of our organizational sponsors and individual donors. If you'd like to learn more about how you can become a part of the New Thought Media Network financial family, please head over to our website, ntmedia.org. Click on the donate button or just add /donate to the URL and learn more about how you can support this network as well. So, all right, before we run out of time here, Rev Z, I got a question for you, and that is anything that you didn't get a chance to ask Reverend Joyful today? Or perhaps we're having a little technical difficulties here.
Yes.
We might be. That's all right. Reverend Joyful, I'll ask you the same question. Is there anything that you were hoping we would talk about today or hoping that we would cover today that we didn't get a chance to discuss with you today?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and just to share time with you. And if I could, I had a conversation with one of my grandsons recently and told him that I was going to be on this show. And he said, "Do you say our names?" So today I want to say hello from Amma, Gatlin, Garrett, Gibson, and Genevieve.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
I love shout outs. Shout outs are great. So to all those kids, yes. And follow in your grandma's footsteps, and we'll have you on the program someday here soon, I would imagine.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I envision that we all come together and we learn to love each other more deeply, and we support one another, and we remind each other that there is hope, there is light right here, right now.
Yes. And I want to set the intention that it doesn't take another year and a couple of months to get you back on the show again. We'll have you back again soon.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, it's that time for our final thoughts before we head off into the rest of our week. And as we normally do, we get to start with Rev Z. Rev Z, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think, for me, what's inspiring is to go study again and again and again the history of this movement and the burial in this time of need.
Beautiful. Thank you. Rev Joyful.
I'm complete. I'm grateful.
All right. That is a very valid final thought for this program today. And I can echo what you've both said here in that I am very, very grateful that we've gotten to spend time and understanding a little bit more of the history and just how far it's good to be reminded that the New Thought movement is not just here for me. It's a generational movement that has been inspiring generations of your family. And I trust that the day will come when somebody looks back and says, yeah, my great-great-grandpa was a guy in this thing once. And that the generational learning and the generational care will continue. I struck today that there is that old saying that we've adopted in New Thought, that a Native American thought that our healing goes 7 generations forward and 7 generations back. And with you as the 5th, and knowing your great grandkids are already being influenced by this, you sit right in the middle of that seven generation period that I think is amazing. So grateful that you had some time to share with us, and grateful that you and I are going to get to share some time and break bread together in just a couple of weeks at Unity Village, and for all the good things that are going to come in the coming years as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
We'll have to have you back again real soon. To all of those that have been watching, whether now live or on a replay, thanks again for being with us. Thanks for tuning in. Let your friends and family know what we're doing here. And if you'd like to get past episodes of this program, head over to our YouTube channel, do a search for the playlist, New Thought Today, for past episodes of this show, or do a search for Divine Science Everywhere and catch past episodes of Reverend Joyful and her co-hosts, or tune in live on a Friday afternoon. Just look for Divine Science Everywhere on our YouTube channel. And I think that's about all we've got time for. So thanks for being with us, folks. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing here. Until next time, we want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
Yeah.